What is going on, Sports Wars? We're here, we're live, and we got to blame Brandon for Jeremy being late. Brandon is the one to blame. He's been throttling Jeremy's internet connection. He doesn't want him to speak out. I think that's what's going on.
That's exactly what's going on. But we're here to talk about the weekend that was in the NFL and college football. Pretty interesting weekend. Nothing overly surprising. Iowa, couldn't handle the moment. Not surprising to anyone that pays attention. A few things to talk about in the NFL and a few controversies to talk about in the NFL. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, a few controversies, a few non-controversies. The NFL's been full of controversies lately with the John Gruden emails and the Adam Schefter attempted cancellation. Those are definitely controversies that have been completely blown out of proportion by all these people that do have an agenda. But I guess, speaking of John Gruden, it might be a good place to start, Jeremy, because the Raiders were under the microscope this entire week in the aftermath of John Gruden being forced out by the NFL. And you have to imagine, regardless of all the other stuff, because we've talked about all that other stuff, and we'll probably talk about it some more, but you had to imagine that would affect the team in some way, that there had to be a lot of things going through their minds. And when they got out there on the field, you didn't really know what they were going to look like. Well, right out of the gate, the Raiders did look good. Ruggs and Derek Carr connected for a long touchdown, and they were in control of that game. And Denver's not an easy place to play, and that is a rivalry game for them. What were your takeaways from what we saw from Derek Carr and the Raiders and their new head coach in the aftermath?
I was pretty surprised that they performed so well. I mean, because like you said, regardless of the details of it and where you stand and how stupid it may or may not be or whatever you think, that type of stuff causes a major distraction. The team was not prepared for that. I think that the media attention was insane. Carr's I like Derek Carr. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's a good leader. I think he's the type of guy. I think he's the type of guy that teammates will rally around. And I think they stepped up and took care of business. I haven't really paid much attention to Denver this year to know if they're actually on track or not. Is Denver actually, obviously Mile High is always a tough place to play for various reasons, and that's a divisional round. That's a divisional matchup, just like anytime the NFC East plays. Sometimes it doesn't matter how good or bad the records are. How is Denver this year? I really haven't paid much attention to them.
Denver, so they were 3-0 off the bat, but they really didn't play anybody. I don't think they're very good. They got Teddy Bridgewater, who's not going to make a ton of mistakes, and they're going to try to rely on that defense. But, they can move the ball from time. They got some talented people on the outside. Noah Fant, is a good wide receiver. And
had a good fantasy day for you with him.
I picked him up. I was going between him and the guy for the Dolphins. Yeah. And when the guy for the Dolphins went off in the morning, I was thinking, God fucking damn it. And then Fant picked up a couple right at the end there that really helped me out in fantasy. So thank God I had him on my bye week. But I don't think Denver's for real or anything like that. I think they're a mediocre team. I think they're going to be 500 this year, but still not an easy place, especially after everything else that the Raiders have been through. And it's not like the Raiders have won convincingly a ton of times. They've had some very close endings, some last-second games. But overall, I did think it was probably hard for them to come out that way. It would have been a very easy game for them to come out small and not really ready to go. But they took care of business. So
I mean, I guess the true test, we'll see how the long term is. I mean, it's anybody can kind of get up for one game for various reasons. And obviously, I think there was some strong leadership in that locker room that kind of kept their heads, focused on what needed to happen. You never know. You don't know if that's an isolated thing where, again, everybody rallies around, go, hey, guys, the world's eyes are on us right now, and they're expecting us to go out here and fail. We got to go out there and show them, what's up. Will that carry over? Don't know. But you got to take it for what it was in isolation. It was impressive. So,
agree. So, good job on their part. Another team that looked very impressive, not just because they were playing a bad team or because of controversy, but they also did not have their coach, is the Cardinals. Cliff Kingsbury, because of the COVID protocols, wasn't able to go out there and coach. So Cardinals go into Cleveland and play the Browns, and the Cardinals just beat the shit out of them. Cardinals remain undefeated. They continue to look really good. Now I feel like they struggled a little bit last week, more so than we probably thought. They got right back on track this week, going into Cleveland, and that defense turned Cleveland over 4 or 5 times, just from what I saw, because my opponent had the freaking had their. I think it was maybe 4 turnovers. He had their Cardinals defense, so I was paying close attention to that. And Kyler Murray just looks in control. He looks so smooth with everything he does. Really looks like he's locked and dialed into this offense. And Baker Mayfield, the questions are always going to be out there about Baker Mayfield because he was a number 1 pick.
Yep.
And you look at the other people in his draft class, you got Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson doing the things that he's doing. And God, who else was in his draft class? There's somebody else is a really good quarterback. But anyway, Baker Mayfield was the number 1 pick. And he goes down with an injury, but I think he'll play through it. Did you catch any of this game? What did you think, Jeremy?
I didn't catch any of this game. There's a part of me that wants to be a believer in the Cardinals, but there's also a part of me that just I can't 100% buy into them being an elite team that we can buy into to go to all the way to the postseason and keep that domination up. I don't know why. Kyler Murray continues to just, prove everyone wrong, in terms of his size, because his athleticism has never been something that was questioned. Everybody knew how he's insane. But his height was always something people said, oh, because of that, you can't, you typically don't see that from NFL quarterbacks at that height. But he's a game changer. But I don't know why, but I don't buy into the Cardinals as a perennial elite team that we're just going to see dominate all year long. I feel like they could very easily drop 3 in a row just as easily as they could win 3 in a row at this point in time. It was an impressive victory. This one, no doubt about it, but it's also Baker. You never know what you're going to get with these Browns. One week, these Browns look incredible. Next week, they look terrible. There's no consistency with them. But with the Cardinals, I can't buy in long-term at this point. Where do you stand on them?
I buy into them. And I think the reason that we want to, I think, is because it's something fresh and something new. We've seen that NFC West for the longest time. The Rams have been there the past few years. The Seattle Seahawks have been there for years. San Francisco has been there. But it's been a while since we've seen the Cards look like the dominant team out of that division. Probably have to go back to those, Kurt Warner years. The last little bit of his career while he was there. So I like the Cardinals. I like what Kyler Murray is doing. That's more than just because he's my fantasy quarterback. They're just exciting to watch. And I think there's a lot of talent on defense. As somebody in the chat pointed out, they actually traded for Zach Ertz. So Ertz is definitely the tail end of his career, but that just gives them one more weapon at the tight end position now. They've already got a really crowded receiving field. And, listen, they're not the best at running back, but they have a couple quality running backs. So it's not like the top tier guy, but they got guys who can get the job done. So I like Arizona. I think it says a lot about them, and it tells us the Browns probably are like a 9-8, maybe 10-7 team.
They are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. Yeah, well, when you have Kyler Murray, you don't need a great running back. You just need a solid running back because he opens up so many opportunities. You know what I mean? And so he can make an average running back almost seem much better because of the threats that he poses. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I will say I am not convinced Arizona continues this path into the second half of the season. Time will tell. That's just a gut feeling of mine. I like them. I have nothing against Arizona. I like the team.
Well, I ain't saying they're going undefeated or anything.
No. I know that. I know that. But I don't think that they're going to – I don't think they're going to continue this pace. I don't see them being the number 1 seed, going into the playoffs. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that there's a chance that, between them and L.A., right, the L.A. Rams, like that's – and they did beat L.A., I believe. Didn't they beat the shit out of L.A.? But I think that might be the Rams' only loss. But regardless, I think those are the top 2 teams in the NFC West. There's really no doubt, especially with Russell Wilson on, injured for the next couple weeks. Did you see
Yeah.
that, like, the cringe videos of him?
Oh, that
like,
was the worst, dude. Like, dude,
Russell, I hate Russell Wilson because he's so hyper aware of the cameras around him at all times, and he performs for the cameras. That's why I don't
Yes,
like
he
Russell
does.
Wilson.
Um,
That's why when he's like doing something for the press or whatever, he sounds extremely clean cut. He's like speaking in a certain manner. But then when he was at the Pro Bowl, all of a sudden he sounded like, when Barack Obama goes and talks to a bunch of black people, his voice changes. That's what happened with Russell Wilson. He's got his like professional voice, and then at the Pro Bowl, he literally sounded like Obama talking in front of the NAACP.
now, like I'm trying to look it up right now. There was this Russell Wilson commercial. This is from a long time ago. I don't remember what the hell he was advertising. It was the cringiest shit ever, though, and I'm trying to find it right now. But when I saw this commercial, it always, this is a long time ago too, and he is such a cringe person. So, and I can't find it right now, but when I saw that, and I love, because Big Cat actually retweeted it. He goes, "Man, that's amazing that the cameras were on to capture this moment," because it was just such a staged moment, and it felt so staged and cringe. And yeah, Russell Wilson, like I like him as a football player. I actually was very critical of him early on in his career. I didn't think he was the guy that was actually driving the ship in Seattle, which I kind of been proven right by that, even though he did have a few years once the Legion of Boom kind of fell apart that he put up really big numbers, but
Yeah.
he's not the guy. Like, we're talking about a guy who was a Marshawn Lynch, like, yard touchdown away from having back-to-back Super Bowls. Can you imagine how he would have been perceived, as his elite status then? But he just seems hypersensitive about his image, and it comes off as cringe.
I completely agree with that. And I think he's really fucking good, and he pisses me off because I feel like he's throwing a wide open fucking wide receivers all the time. But and usually he's not injured. He is injured now, but usually that's not the case. He somehow does a good job of not getting banged up, even though he is extending plays. He is doing things like that.
Yep.
But another game that was a pretty lopsided ending that I don't think I really expected was Ravens-Chargers. Ravens beat the brakes off the Chargers in Baltimore.
Living fuck out of them, dude. It was bad. I could not believe that.
And it was like, I don't know if it was a game plan thing. I don't know if it was a scheme thing, because I watched Red Zone, so I watch it from time to time, but seemingly every time I saw Justin Herbert drop back and, try to throw to an outside wide receiver, like, they were just smothered. They were fucking smothered by the Ravens defensive backs, and they all end up in like pass deflections. It was, I don't know if maybe it was just an adjustment that wasn't made, but they were, a lot of times, they're playing straight up man on the outside. They could not get separated.
Yeah, I didn't watch much of this game. I obviously just saw the highlights afterwards, and I was completely shocked at how dominant the Ravens were and how lost it appeared. Like, Herbert was just, he couldn't, he was, I didn't see his actual stats, but just watching the highlights, he was terrible. I know he didn't put up great numbers. Obviously he didn't. But again, I'm not ready to buy into the Ravens either. Like, yeah, I'm just not. I'm not ready to buy into the Ravens. I get it that you would think, like, on paper that they're moving in the right direction. Lamar Jackson, again, is the type of guy. He's fantastic. He's amazing. He's, exciting to watch, but he could just very easily have a 4 interception game as he could a 4 touchdown game.
It's weird because Lamar Jackson, he is a couple dropped passes away from a very different, like, I think in the Colts game, he had like 2 passes that got dropped that would have been like 60-yard bomb touchdown throws that were great throws. So that is a part of it, I suppose, as well. He's looked okay, but you know what he is. They have been passing a lot more, I think, than they have been maybe in recent years. He's probably going to have another 1,000-yard rushing season from the quarterback position. That would be 3 in a row for him. But that defense was what really impressed me, because the Chargers have looked really good. Justin Herbert's looked really good. We sat here on this show last week and talked about how Justin Herbert's the real deal. And then he goes and, this happens. Now it's on the road. It's against a great fucking coach in Harbaugh. And Justin Herbert is only 2 years into this league. So maybe that's a factor. But Baltimore looked good.
They did. They looked real good. But I think, you can't hold this against Herbert. I mean, he's a young quarterback. He got overwhelmed. Good, well-coached team. And I don't put a lot of stock into it. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due, but I don't put a lot of long-term stock into the negatives for or the positives for either. I just look at it like, Baltimore had a good day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I look at with that.
Baltimore had a very, very good day indeed. Somebody that didn't have a great day was, well, I guess we'll talk about the actual game first before we talk about this man's brother. How about that? Let's talk about the Chiefs. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, who I thought did not look good until basically the very end. I don't know how much of that you watched, but they were struggling early on.
Mahomes is my quarterback, so my quarterback for fantasy. So I mean, I was paying attention to that, and he obviously he's some of these passes are not his fault. They're bobbled or tipped or whatever, when they get intercepted, but he looks a little overwhelmed at times. He's scrambling around. He's throwing really bad passes, and I'm looking it up right now. Did you see that one angle from that?
That was crazy. That was
holy
insane.
Shit,
but that's the thing. Like, Patrick Mahomes literally fumbled the snap and then picked up and made the dumbest fucking throw you'll ever see that immediately got picked off by a Washington lineman or linebacker. I wasn't quite sure who grabbed it. But then he'll do something like that to Tyreek Hill. And that's I think what has made us maybe not criticize the Chiefs as much as we should have been a little closer over these past several years, is they just continue to find ways like that in the second half of games. Because this first half didn't look pretty for them. Did not look pretty for the Chiefs.
I want to show this. This is insane.
Nuts, dude.
This is insane. This is just stupid. So obviously you've got Mahomes right here, and just watch what this dude does.
Ref, get out of the way. It's like a 45-degree angle.
That is insane. That is insane.
That's like the cardinal sin for quarterbacks. Like, you don't do that.
Wow. That is insane. So, nothing but respect to Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? Nothing but respect.
For that throw, yeah.
For that throw. And look, I do think he's a great quarterback. He's been completely overhyped by the media. There's just no doubt about that. He has, just like Aaron Rodgers was overhyped by the media because they're desperate to find Tom Brady's replacement, I guess. But what we're seeing from Mahomes, what we're seeing from Kansas City is when all of the stars are not lined up, they are not this incredibly dominant team that is just going to run over the league. I mean, people were handing Mahomes 4 Super Bowl championships. They're like, oh, he's going to have 4 championships. This is a dynasty.
Yeah.
Dynasties aren't something like predicting a championship every year. That's one thing, because that's going to happen. Someone is going to win the championship every year. Predicting a dynasty is the most insane and ridiculous thing that we have ever heard from the media. You can't predict dynasties. You just can't. They are so rare. When you predict a dynasty, you are disrespecting dynasties because they don't just happen. Patrick Mahomes can run around and he can throw a ball, and that's great. And he's the new front person for the NFL. That's great. That's wonderful. That doesn't equal dynasty. And we're starting to see why dynasties are so difficult. 2 years ago, Kansas City Chiefs were unbeatable in the eyes of the league and many, and they were for that period of time. But all the pieces were lined up. Now that they're not, you're seeing them struggle really badly. So the final score, I can't remember what the final score in that game
was.
Like
31-13.
It looks good.
In the second half.
It looks good. It looks like Kansas City handled them. They did not handle them. They struggled for the majority of that game. And Patrick Mahomes looks very, very uncomfortable right now. And so, so what are they? 3-3 now? Is it 3-3?
Yeah.
So this is a team that a lot of people were saying was going to go 17-0, which is ridiculous to even think that they were never going to go 17-0. Now they're barely at 5. They're at 500, and it looked like for a while there they could have been 2-4 early on in that game. So I think Kansas City's going to have problems as they continue to move forward. And again, I don't think that's Patrick Mahomes' fault. I don't think it's Andy Reid's fault. I don't think that's the team's fault. It's the media's fault that I take joy in them falling. Just like I took joy in the Golden State Warriors falling because they were just so overhyped by the media. And you just couldn't enjoy it for what it was because the media tries to make it something it's not. So I'm enjoying Kansas City sliding back a little bit. They're still going to be there. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be a team that you can, watch and probably going to be in the mix. They're just not that dynasty that the media is claiming that they were.
Oh yeah, and always when you get to, when somebody gets there, like we talked about kind of with the fatigue, it's like, all right, I'm ready to see them fucking knocked off the horse a little bit. It was cool when they were up and coming. Now that we've seen him there, it's like, I'd kind of like to see him struggle. So that's one thing that's happening. And although Kansas City Chiefs did take care of business on the field, something else happened on the field in that game against the Washington football team that a lot of people are talking about today. And that's Patrick's brother, Jackson Mahomes. Jackson Mahomes sparks outrage dancing on late NFL star Sean Taylor's memorial. Now, there are a lot of things to talk about, which we've already discussed a little bit on this channel regarding Sean Taylor's memorial in general. The fact that the family were not informed about this until a few days prior. The fact that it was clearly done as a way to distract from all the problems the Washington football team has. But this, Jackson Mahomes, people are pissed about this. And the Barstool Sports headline, not so kind to Jackson. Piece of shit Jackson Mahomes TikTok danced on a chained off Sean Taylor 21 painted on the field. And we might as well watch it, Jeremy. Was it worth it?
Is the music going to get you copyrighted?
I don't know. We'll play a little bit muted.
So, just want to say Jackson Mahomes is a literal piece of shit. Like, this dude is so cringe. And what you're about to see is super cringe. But yeah, let's play it and then we'll go from there.
I think anyone who's has any fame because of something that their sibling has done, I'm always skeptical of those people. I'm always like, I fucking hate you probably. But Jackson Mahomes was seen here dancing on the Sean Taylor 21 logo. This should infuriate everyone. This is disgraceful. There he is. Look at him. Jackson Mahomes. First of all, that's cringe as fuck. That's peak TikTok.
It's so terrible.
But you can see he's on the Sean Taylor 21 that's been chained off right now. A lot of people had a big problem with this. Sean Taylor is extremely beloved by the Washington franchise for what he did for the Washington Redskins. He was only there 4 years. Obviously, he was killed. Very tragic for his family and for the fans of the team that were rooting for him. Real shocker that he died the way he did. And so now they're going to honor him. And Jackson Mahomes does this. He did issue an apology.
That ratio.
Oh, yeah. I want to sincerely apologize for accidentally being on the Sean Taylor 21 at FedEx Field. We were directed to stand in that area, and I meant absolutely no disrespect to him or his family. And you can see he is getting ratioed, but there's a comment. You were directed to stand in an area that was roped off.
But he kind of was.
But it does look like he might have been. So we got to come, even though he's a fucking idiot and a loser and completely cringe, we do have to come to his defense a little bit because it does seem like some people at one point during the game, before the game, whatever this was, were directed to stand there. That's an interesting story. I don't know why you would necessarily do that, why you would rope this off and then have people stand right there before you even honor Sean Taylor. But we do have to come to his defense a little bit, even though I really don't want to. Either way, it's just cringe.
The whole thing is cringe. And
doing a TikTok dance in general is cringe.
Yeah, I mean, he's famous because his brother is great at football. That's why he's famous. So there's enough reason to roast him right there. There was one comment on there that got like 10,000 likes on his tweet, if you can find it, where it's making fun of what's his name when he made that apology. during the
This
yeah,
one
right here. Yeah,
yeah. We want to sincerely apologize for accidentally being on the Sean Taylor 21 at FedEx Field. We were directed to stand in that area. I'm on absolutely no disrespect to him or his family. And there's a drive in the left by Castellanos. It'll be a home run to make it a 4-0 ball game. Yeah. That's such a meme at this point too. Tom Brenneman's apology on air after the slur that was directed at San Francisco and what it may be the capital of.
And he begged for everyone's forgiveness. I beg for your forgiveness. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But back to Jackson Mahomes. Yeah, he's getting ratioed, rightfully so. He deserves to be ratioed. He's an idiot. I do think that him being an idiot and him also being directed to that area they can both be true. And it, to me, based on what we've looked at, it appears that when you look at that picture with those other people, they clearly were directed in that area. So in his mind, he was in the area that he's being directed to. He took a minute to do his stupid TikTok. I think you got to be fair to him in isolation to that. But if you want to roast the guy just for being a cringe dude, in general, I'm fully supportive of that. But it does appear that he was directed to that area.
Yeah, I think so. But you can still say you're an idiot for doing that there. Like for not having the understanding that you're on this thing. Maybe he doesn't. And maybe we're giving this guy too much credit. Maybe he's just literally just follows Patrick Mahomes around, doesn't really fucking know the impact that all this may have. I don't know anything about Jackson Mahomes, but I do know that this is a really dumb and insensitive thing to do at the football game where he's being honored.
Yep.
But I guess to his defense, they did put the motherfucking thing on the ground. So there's going to be people walking over it for the rest of the time.
Yeah. It seems like bad decisions by the Redskins or fucking Washington football team or whatever the fuck they're called. It seems like bad organization from their standpoint, and also just this guy being completely lacking any self-awareness whatsoever. That's really what it is, a combination of those things.
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of those things. And, it is what it is. Fucking, I'll roast a motherfucker anytime. Blue-eyed Scorpio for $2. Jeremy has fame because of his brother, Rick Grimes. Is that true?
That is true. I've gotten into some press events through my fame of having a brother named Rick.
That's true. The Greg for $5. What a world we live in where Bill Belichick looks like a bum and Chip Kelly's making UCLA great again. Fire Chip Kelly or fire the hoodie.
I mean, I get that, it's fun to say Jeremy's a bandwagoner and all this crap. I'm the one that's been telling everyone that Brady was always the person that led New England to their dynasty. It was never Belichick. I said that when it was very unpopular, back when all the drones were listening to ESPN. I mean, Belichick can take any quarterback. No, he fucking can't. Anybody that's paid attention to this shit should know that. Belichick can't take any quarterback and make them into the great quarterback in the league. He can't do it. He had Drew Bledsoe, an all-pro quarterback, and they were a losing franchise. And then everybody runs to this Matt Castle bullshit argument. Again, stupid people using a stupid argument. Matt Castle, after he left New England, went to a Pro Bowl and the playoffs under Todd Haley. So he did better in Kansas City under Todd Haley than he did under Belichick when he had Randy Moss as his receiver. So don't give me this Belichick made Brady shit. It is over. The argument is over. It's done. Bill Belichick is a great football coach. He is. But without Brady, he would be Nick Saban in Miami, a great football coach with nothing to show. Because in the NFL, if you do not have a top-tier quarterback, you are not going to be successful for the long term. You may have a good year here and a good year there, but you are not going to compete year in and year out. Tom Brady is the single reason that the New England Patriots are the greatest dynasty in the history of the NFL. End of discussion.
There you go. There's your Jeremy Patriot take for the day. Now, there was a big game that I was not necessarily looking forward to this week, and that was Packers-Bears, because as exciting as having Justin Fields, a new quarterback on the team with so much potential is, I never have a good feeling when we play the Green Bay Packers, and that's for a reason, because Aaron Rodgers has improved his record to 21-5 against the Chicago Bears. And I remember last year for Sports Wars, I was so excited for opener. I thought that we were going to wipe the floor with them, and we were. It was going so well, and then we gave it all up in the end. Freaking Aaron Rodgers comes and has he had like some country accent or some bullshit at the end of that game. I hate Aaron Rodgers. But
I hate Aaron Rodgers too, but I love seeing Ryan mad about this.
Oh, but Aaron Rodgers made a statement that has pissed off a lot of people. But unfortunately, you can't really say the man's wrong about it. I still own you. Aaron Rodgers taunts Bears fans after touchdown in 24-14 Packers win. And I forgot to share audio, so I'll share it again because you can hear it. The man says it on the field. I think Barstool clipped it. We'll stop it and pause it because we don't want to get yeeted by the NFL. But this motherfucker, here we go.
Ups it quick. Pressure coming. Scrambles to his right. Pumps and runs. Aaron Rodgers.
So he scores, right? This was really the clincher, because they're up by 3. Aaron Rodgers runs it in, and he's going to do the discount double cuck. He's going to do it. And he got a little heated afterwards. Listen to Aaron Rodgers.
He's inside the pylon. Touchdown Packers. It's Rodgers running for the score.
So you can't really hear it right there. You're going to hear it when he runs off. He says, I fucking own you all my fucking life. That's what he says. He continues on. I own you.
Right on cue, Joe.
I still own you. Now, Aaron Rodgers says what triggered him into doing this was a Chicago Bears female fan who was giving him 2 double fingers as he came into the end zone, which is not, that makes a lot of sense. It's what I would imagine what Soldier Field looked like. But it's just.
I respect it. I shared another clip I want us to watch too in the private chat. But
oh yeah,
okay.
This is Big Cat. I remember this. I saw this earlier.
I do not like Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is overrated. He's still a great quarterback, but he's completely overrated. But I respect the hell out of what he did. I respect it. I mean, that was awesome. So
I do not. So I don't fault him at all for doing that. Like I'm 100% okay with trash talk if you can back it up. And unfortunately, in my misery as a Chicago Bears fan, Aaron Rodgers has backed up. He has dominated the Chicago Bears. And I don't fucking like hearing that, but that's why I want the Bears to do something to fix their team to stop this from happening. But so Big Cat was actually trending yesterday because he tweeted out, "This is disgusting. The NFL needs to do something. This man just said he owns the Bears." Let's listen to Big Cat.
I think it's gross. I don't understand the taunting rules in the NFL. He gets to.
He's actually right about that.
I've owned you all my fucking life. I own you. I still own you.
It's Rodgers running for the score.
The worst part about the entire experience is he's correct. He owns my life. The 2 worst days of my year are when the Bears play the Packers, and I have to watch. It's the same thing every year. Aaron Rodgers owns my fucking life, and I'm sick of it, and I'm sad about it.
The thing is, he knows that he owns.
It's so good. It's so good.
It is good. We love those guys over there at Barstool, and part of my take's fucking hilarious. And it's true. Like everything Big Cat's saying is true. And I think that the worst, other than maybe the double doink, the double doink field goal a couple years ago in the playoffs with the Eagles when they went on to end up going to the Super Bowl, that hurt a lot, obviously. But the other one, other than that, would probably be that 2011 NFC Championship game where Jay Cutler got banged up and he had that touchdown on 4th down to Randall Cobb. That was probably the worst moment, and Peppers just missed getting a sack. But it's fucking Aaron fucking Rodgers as a Bears fan. I'm glad that motherfucker's going to have to retire eventually, his bitch ass. But he does own the Chicago Bears. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, I found some joy in it. As somebody that really doesn't like Aaron Rodgers at all, I found a lot of joy in this. This was really funny. And it's true. Like Big Cat said it, Ryan said it. I mean, the worst part of it is that it's true, and then they have to accept it. And that's just not a good position for a sports fan to be in. But I think that's kind of what's so funny about it. Again, if I was in the similar position, I would be very angry, but I'm not. So I can just sit back and go, I hate Aaron Rodgers. But I don't really care about the Bears either way. I'm indifferent to the Bears, so I can just go, yeah, I got to respect that. And I know Ryan respects it too, but it doesn't mean he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. It's funny though.
Well, it's not like that is the thing about the taunting rules. That's a good point. But he wasn't talking to players. He was yelling at the fans. And like it's because he knows, like he understands that he's hated. He understands that people in Chicago fucking despise him. And so he wasn't talking to the players. He's talking to the fucking fans. And that's like the worst part about it. That fucking sucks. It's infuriating. I have more respect for Aaron Rodgers as a human being for doing that than I've ever had for anything. But yeah, fucking Aaron Rodgers, dude. It's errant Rodgers. Errant Rodgers.
Yeah, I should have had that ready to go. I didn't have it ready to go.
Jonathan Bordeaux for $5. Rodgers to Bears. I own you. NFC title game to Rodgers. I own you.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
It's a good one. At least he gets there, I guess. T-Rev for, let's see. T-Rev for Canadian $5. Chicago's been garbage for longer than you have been alive, RK. The 1 year they went to the Super Bowl, DG let them off the hook in the pre-S. QBs can't win there. I don't quite understand some of those things. Yeah, so obviously I haven't won a Super Bowl since I've been alive. But we did get to one. We would have fucking beat the Indianapolis Colts if it wasn't fucking raining. And Charles Tillman,
Grossman,
Hall of Fame, fucking, or should be, I think, in the Hall of Fame at some point. Peanut Tillman, fucking slips and falls on a rainy field, and Reggie Wayne's bitch ass is wide open because Peyton Manning's trash. Peyton Manning is garbage in the playoffs. Fucking terrible. And
didn't Rex Grossman take it? It was Rex Grossman, right? Was the
quarterback? They should have left Kyle Orton in. They should have left Kyle Orton in. They had the chemistry. That was the right move. But no, you bring Rex Grossman's bitch ass back. Fuck, dude.
Oh, it's funny. Good stuff.
Oh, Dennis Green let them off the hook the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Denny Green.
They are who we thought they were. Let's see. Chattison McGraw for $5. Where do you think Murray stacks up in the MVP race after the 6-0 performance? Do the Texans regret their decision regarding Watt and Hopkins yet? I mean, I don't think that J.J. Watt – I think the reason J.J. Watt's been effective this year is because there's other really like good talent around him, which helps him because he's not the focus. Whereas in Houston, I think he's probably the focus in Houston if he's there. And then as far as Hopkins, they probably do regret that a little bit, especially for what they sold him for. But at the same time, putting those two guys on that team ain't going to make a fucking bit of difference.
Yeah, and as far as, where was it Kyler Murray? Want to know where Kyler ranks up in the – I mean, he's definitely in the discussion. I mean, right now,
Tom Brady, Matt Stafford.
And Josh Allen. You got Josh Allen in there. So that's kind of your top – that's your guys right now that are in the discussion. Time's going to tell as to how that continues to play out. I'll be interested to see how Josh Allen plays tonight. And just moving forward, I mean, he's a great talent, but he's, again, he's one of these guys that, you're not sure what he's going to do. But Kyler Murray's going to remain in that discussion. I mean, I think the Arizona is going to be decent. I'm just not buying into them as like this. I think if they win a few more games, they're going to start getting elevated as like, oh, the best team in the league, and they're going to go undefeated. I think that will start getting around them, and I think they're going to disappoint very quickly on that. Obviously, Brady's going to be in the mix. I would think smart money, shockingly enough, is on a 44-year-old quarterback, but that's because of the weapons that Brady has. I mean, it's insane. The weapons he has is absolutely insane. So I think smart money would be on Brady at this point for MVP.
Well, I think they're going to have to keep throwing this year because that defense just keeps getting decimated. Richard Sherman's hurt again.
Yeah, Brady's throwing like crazy this year. So
he's on a pretty crazy pace.
He is. So yeah, he's leading the NFL in yards. He's second in touchdowns. His touchdown to interception ratio is stupid. It's like 17-3. So he's on pace. And then you add the extra game, which will probably give him the a bounce to probably break some records this year. So, but his pace is stupid right now.
He has 17 touchdowns after 6 games. So
and that's
basically 3 a game.
Yeah. And that's coming, and that's with the bad game versus the Patriots he had, because he didn't throw any touchdown passes in that game. Yep. I don't even think he broke 300 yards. And that was pretty ugly conditions. Me and you were there. It was not good conditions. But again, that's not to say Brady knows how to play in those conditions. But I told this to Ryan before that game. I was like, yeah, but I think the rest of the team's not really prepared to play in those conditions. So that's where the struggle would come into play. But yeah, I mean, I think Brady's going to be the MVP as long as everything continues in the direction it's at with that team, with what Ryan made a great point with the defense is not good. So that's going to force Brady to just put up more ridiculous numbers. And obviously Tampa Bay is going to be a contender. So
yeah. And the Eagles were able to come back and, make that a game. Jalen Hurts is such garbage. He's so fucking bad. But,
I mean, I never believed in him as an NFL quarterback. Hell, I didn't believe in him as a college quarterback, much less an NFL quarterback. But I like him. He's a great guy. But so is Tim Tebow.
Jose M is a member for 6 months, says Bridgewater's Broncos equals Tannehill's Dolphins. It's not a bad comparison.
That's pretty
about
accurate.
500. So
yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Liberty or death for $2. Vols fans did nothing wrong. Go Titans. The Titans are kicking off here in about 30 minutes or so. And let's just start talking about college football, Jeremy. We talked a little bit about it on Sunday, but Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss go and beat Tennessee, and the Vols fans, they weren't super happy to see Lane Kiffin.
I mean, the interesting thing here is that that's the same mentality that Lane Kiffin created for Tennessee when he was there. That kind of badass, take no bullshit mentality. That's the culture he was creating in Tennessee. And the Tennessee fans rallied around that. And he was taking shots at Nick Saban and other SEC coaches. I mean, he came in there with an attitude. And then suddenly he kind of left them high and dry for the next pretty girl that he found, USC. And we all know how that ended up. And now he's back with another SEC team. And the Volunteer fans were just letting him know how much they don't like him. And yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's advocating for golf balls being thrown or anything like that. That's a dangerous game you're playing there. I like to see hostility. I like to see anger. I like to see fans voicing their displeasure. But yeah, a little bit over the line with the throwing of stuff. You don't want to see that. But it was a pretty crazy night, and Tennessee almost came back and won.
I didn't even see. God damn, I hate when it does that.
What?
It fucking flickered. Did the flickering thing.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even see this. Look at this sign. Lane Kiffin claps when the plane lands. Look at that fucking guy.
Look at him. Look how serious he is, dude. Yeah.
It's so funny. But I did not see this either. I saw someone throw this at him when he walked off the field. This is after the golf ball incident, all that. He's being escorted out by the police because obviously people are throwing shit at him. He posted a slow-mo video of him catching something. Well, and he fucking threw it down that they threw at him. Watch this shit. I saw it as it happened. I was very curious, like, what it was. Well, now I know. He caught a bottle that they fucking threw at him. Look, I'm number one.
He's such a dick.
Look, he says, I asked for one for the road and you threw me this. Great game and atmosphere last night. He's hilarious, man. I like that shit.
I like Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's just a different dude, man. But we need personalities like that. It makes things interesting. It's the professional wrestling element. You need personalities like that. You need your Conor McGregors in the UFC. You need your Lane Kiffins. You know what I mean? Like, I think it just makes everything better when you have personalities like that are unapologetic and they know how to rile up the crowd and keep people talking. So again, Lane Kiffin did great things for us at Alabama. I think Nick Saban took a risk on him, which the only person that was credible enough was Nick Saban at that point to give Lane Kiffin that type of position, because Lane Kiffin was, someone nobody was touching at that point in time. He gave Lane Kiffin an opportunity. They did great things at Alabama. Then he moved on, and now he's back to being at relevant schools. And he's taking shots at Saban. He takes shots at everybody. That's who he is, man. And I like it. I want more of it. We need more personalities like that.
Speaking of more SEC news, this happened, which we saw coming for quite some time, which was Ed Orgeron will not return as the LSU Tigers head coach in 2020. As they say, it's time for new direction. Interestingly enough, he's not being fired. He is going to finish out the season, which I don't know if I've ever seen a situation quite like this that I can remember, when still with 5 or 6 games to go in a season, they effectively come out and say, we're going to fire, we're going to part ways, because that can affect a lot of shit. And having a lame duck coach, how are the players going to feel about that? All those things. What are your thoughts about this, Jeremy? You watch a lot more LSU football than I have.
I mean, I like Coach O. I never thought he was the guy. He's just not. He's not the guy. He's a great guy. He's a funny guy. He's great personality. And he has an ability to kind of motivate the people that his players, they love the guy. He's a very likable guy. He's a guy you want to be in the foxhole with, but he's not a great football coach. And that one magical season that they had with Joe Burrow, that was crazy. That a lot of people are saying that could be one of the best teams ever in college football. And Joe Burrow was just incredible that year. And that team was pretty stacked. They've always done really well with recruiting at LSU, and you're always going to do well with recruiting, whether that was Nick Saban or Les Miles and now Coach O, and who maybe Urban Meyer is going to show up at fucking LSU now. For all I know, he'll probably be there after having heart trouble once again, with Jacksonville. So I think they're going to get a top tier coach for sure in LSU, but Coach O was never the guy. I mean, he came in with some hype just because of what happened with USC and everything, but I never felt like he was a long-term answer. As soon as they won that national championship, it kind of gave him a lot of kind of credibility that I didn't think he rightly deserved. And we've seen that less than a year and a half from that championship, and here we are where he's
21 months.
Yeah, he's not
21 months from going 15-0.
Yeah, honestly, where Coach O is going to end up? He's probably going to end up at Alabama. He's probably going to end up on Saban's staff. That's where he's going to end up. He's not a head football coach. He's just not. And as much as you like him, as much as he's a football guy, because he's not a head coach. So this doesn't surprise me at all. I think LSU felt trapped when he won the championship.
Yeah, a little bit.
So this doesn't surprise me. I think it's the right move for LSU. I hate saying that because I like him a lot, but I think it's the right move.
Yeah, fair enough.
Top recruiting, top conference. This is a university that if you get a really good head coach, you're going to have good players at LSU. And Death Valley needs to be feared again, and it's not feared. Coach O talked a little shit like after they beat Alabama. I'm like, bro, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be here much longer. And this happens every time somebody beats Alabama. They run their mouth. They say, Gus Malzahn, how the fuck is that working out? How's that working out there, Gus? Not very well. But we'll see. But I think they need to get a top tier head coach. And if they do, which might be Urban Meyer, probably. I really think it might be Urban Meyer.
I saw some people talking about how miserable Urban Meyer looked when that field goal went in. They're like, he was hoping he'd be 0-6 so he'd get fired. Yeah, because he did. He looked like he was going to die.
But, by the way, no, I don't think Urban Meyer goes to LSU. The reason he won't go to LSU is because of Nick Saban. Yeah, he doesn't want to go anywhere Nick Saban, so he'll go to USC, which seems a lot more like an Urban Meyer school, laid back California, go out there, dance with a bunch of hot blondes, do your thing. That's Urban Meyer style. He doesn't belong in Death Valley.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm surprised he's still in Jacksonville. You know, like, I feel like the worst is over now. He's looking at John Gruden like, thanks, bud. Thanks for taking one for the team. No one's talking about me anymore. But I really thought he was going to fold during all of this stuff. And then the John Gruden emails came out, which that's somehow worse for some reason.
There's always something with Urban Meyer, man. Everywhere he goes, there's always something with this guy. It's so weird. I don't know what it is. I think he's a fantastic football coach, but he is a fucked up guy. He is a fucked up guy. There's always something with this guy. Always.
Yeah. I think he likes to dance with young blondes who aren't his wife, which some would say that's a problem. Yeah,
but that's fine if that's there's always something with him. You know what I mean? Just like when he claimed he had the heart problems after Nick Saban beat his ass, you know, and Tim Tebow was leaving. Suddenly, I've got heart problems. And then like you go back to, then you pop up at Ohio State, you know, and then you have all the stuff going on at Ohio State, and then you're not going to coach anymore. And now it's always something with this guy.
Well, see, I think there's a good chance that what we may have discovered in Jacksonville, that may have been he only has one problem. I think that may be it. And I think that one problem may cause family problems, which then cause made-up stories for him to leave places. That's what I think. That's my opinion about Urban Meyer and what's happened to him in all these places. And based on a couple rumors that are not confirmed. This is what I think happened. So I guess we'll see if he stays in Jacksonville, if he's out there in sunny California. But, you know, we had a shakeup in the top 10 with Iowa losing big to Purdue, Jeremy. And Jesus, I fucking hate it when it does that. Like, just have this nice setup for it. But here are the new college football rankings. You got Georgia, Cincinnati, number 2. Man, the Bearcats of Cincinnati may end the season as the number 2 ranked team in college football.
Please let that happen. Please let that happen.
Imagine if it ends like this and Georgia has to say Alabama and Georgia play in the SEC championship. And I just don't know how it could stay 1-4 then and Alabama get in.
What is Cincinnati's record? Their
they're
schedule?
Undefeated.
No. What's their remaining schedule?
They only play SMU. So Navy is that, I don't know what Tulane is. Fucking Tulsa. Tulane is Tulane. USF and then SMU, their last ranked opponent, and then ECU.
Okay, so
Eastern Carolina.
I've been watching college football long enough, okay? And just like with Iowa, I felt like they weren't going to be able to hold that ranking. So right now, you might as well rank Cincinnati 1, because a number 2 ranking to Cincinnati is just, they've never seen anything like it. You know what I mean?
They've been in the top 10 for sure before. Yeah, I don't know about number 2.
This is different. Like they are primed for a national championship run now. You know what I mean? The pressure is on, just like with Iowa. I guarantee you, if Iowa was ranked 18th, they probably wouldn't have lost that game to Purdue.
Well, Purdue's obviously a superior opponent. It's really the problem. They're now ranked number 25th in the nation. Shout out to Purdue Boilermakers. Good job.
Yeah, I know you're a Purdue boy. I get it. But when you go in there with that number 2 ranking, with national attention, national prominence, it's what I've been saying for years. It's the Tom Brady Alabama element. For the last 20 years, when Tom Brady comes to town, for the last, since Saban was there, 2007 is his first year, 2008, or was it 2006 was his first year? I think 2006 or 2007 Saban's first year. 2008 is when they lost to Florida. So it's 2007 was Saban's first year. 2008 they lost the SEC championship to Florida. And then 2009 is when it started the run. Ever since then, every time Alabama comes to town, it's everybody's biggest game of the year. Every time Tom Brady comes to town, it's that team's biggest game of the year. When you have that ranking, you are dealing with that other team's very best. They may have a bad season. They may have lost their quarterback. They may have lost defensive players, but their season can be made if they take you down. And that's what Iowa dealt with. They dealt with the best. which is what Alabama dealt with at Texas A&M and College Station. And it was an amazing atmosphere. And that's what Cincinnati's going to deal with now. Every one of these teams are going to go, we can take down the number 2 team in the country. This is our biggest moment. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying I've seen it happen so many times where these undeserving teams get up there and have that pressure and they drop the ball. So I don't expect Cincinnati to remain there, just like I didn't expect Iowa to remain there. But I hope Cincinnati stays there. And I hope Cincinnati has to play Georgia or Alabama. And as Yellow Flash would say, they're going to beat the brakes off of you. Okay. Yeah. It's not even going to be close.
I think that it's a little like this competition level is so bad that they're playing. But yeah, sure. They're going to have a lot more pressure with all that riding on it, where now it's not just like, oh no, we're going to be 10-2 and go to a crappy bowl game. Now it's like, fuck, we can't lose. We can't fucking lose. We can't let this happen. This is the first time this happened to us. So I get what you're saying. This is not a good competition level for that.
Awful. So. It's awful.
Yeah, it really is.
It's bad.
Oklahoma takes care of business. Alabama takes care of business, and that's your top 4 right now: Georgia, Cincy, Oklahoma, Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama, they're going to be fine. I mean, I don't think Alabama's Alabama. They're, I don't think they went undefeated last year, pretty dominant. Obviously they're going to be as good as anybody in the country. I don't know, man. My gut feeling right now is that Georgia is just the better football team. Now, with that said, the best thing that could have happened to Alabama is to lose in the toughest environment in college football. And they did. And that might have been the wake-up call they needed. You know what I mean? That might have been the wake-up call they needed. But right now, Georgia and Alabama seem to be head and shoulders above everyone else.
To me, just the way that Georgia's taken care of business of anytime we thought, oh, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what challenge this is. It's just like, it's not even fucking close. You know, with the exception, I will say the worst thing on their record is that fucking Clemson. Like, honestly, that opener, that is their worst fucking thing on their schedule.
Yeah.
The fact that they barely beat a number 3 Clemson team because Clemson's just not near as good as anyone thought they would be. But they're like, all right, Arkansas, it's Arkansas, the real deal. I guess we'll see against Georgia. Fucking 37-0.
Yeah.
Like, go to Auburn, 34-10. Kentucky, everyone's like, ooh, Kentucky. Kentucky's been giving people problems. Not even close. So
Florida's going to be interesting because Florida's got talent. And that is a rivalry game right there. That is a big time rivalry game. So that is going to be a very, very interesting game. And it's also the 3:30 game on CBS. I'm pretty interested to watch that game. My pick would be Georgia's going to win it comfortably, but Florida has talent. It's a rivalry game. Georgia's number 1. They're going to be dealing with Florida's best.
Well, Dan Mullen is now probably has the hottest seat in the SEC, probably.
Absolutely.
When you're talking about coaches. Ironically, after Dan Mullen and the Florida Gators got upset by Ed Orgeron and LSU, Orgeron gets fired. Dan Mullen is now still on the hot seat. So, they look lost at times.
Depending on how much those players really like Dan Mullen, they could come in there as this is an opportunity to save our coach's job. You know what I mean? Take down the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that close. But I didn't think that Florida was going to be that close to beating Alabama either. That happened, though.
Yep.
And then you have just this clusterfuck of Big Ten. Ohio State is back up to 5, even though they're 1 loss. Michigan's still sitting at 6-0. Hey, if Michigan wins out, this will be the determining factor, probably to see who ends up going. Penn State looking really good, but they did get beat by an Iowa team that just got fucking decimated by Purdue. Iowa does drop out of the top 10 to number 11. Not too far out of there.
Yeah,
you still have undefeated Michigan State. You still have undefeated Michigan State as well.
I do have a question. I see Luke in the chat says A&M's not the toughest environment. And I'm just curious, who do you think is? Because, I mean, I personally think it is toughest environment in college football. I thought that Death Valley was that for a long time. The Swamp was that for a long time. But I think that Kyle Field College Station. I think it's the toughest environment, but I would like to know who you think's tougher, and I'll hear you out. Yeah, I mean, Iowa deserves to be right where they are. They are who we thought they were. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's more accurate for them. Fucking Notre Dame's bitch ass. Who does Notre Dame have left on their schedule? I fucking hate Notre Dame.
Fuck Notre Dame. They're garbage.
Let's see. USC, UNC, Navy. They're playing the midshipmen. UVA, Georgia Tech, Stanford.
Nobody's.
Yeah, not really anybody.
I hate Notre Dame.
I fucking hate that. Fucking, they will always play military school no matter what. They will always play a fucking military school. It's almost always Navy. And look at my Purdue Boilermakers down there, number 25, baby. That makes me happy.
How many two? Is there only two? There's two-loss teams in the top 25. A&M and Purdue. It's pretty good company.
And Auburn.
Oh, and Auburn. Okay, yeah. Fuck Auburn though.
Mm-hmm. And Auburn.
Yeah, fuck Auburn.
It's fun. I actually didn't expect Purdue to get in there. I don't like when you go back and look at their schedule, they don't really have any quality wins other than Iowa, like they lost to Minnesota. They beat Illinois. They beat Connecticut. They beat Oregon State. I guess Oregon State's an okay win, but I don't think they deserve to be number 25 if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I guess we'll see what they do against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not been good, but they obviously have a better talent traditionally than Purdue does. So I suppose that game will be a factor.
Luke answered. And no, I didn't think you were trying to be a D-bag. I was actually nice. So first of all, he says I wasn't trying to be a D-bag and disagree with you, LOL. But second, I'd say LSU at night, Penn State, White out at night, a Pack Swamp in Gainesville are all tougher. I think those are all respectable.
Penn State's a good answer.
Yeah, I think those are all respectable, arguments for sure. I go back to like Johnny Manziel days. That was kind of my first kind of really understanding.
Because they joined the SEC then. You didn't know anything about him before.
No, I didn't give a fuck about him.
Yeah, you didn't watch him before, I should say. Yeah.
Well, and that's not true because Dennis Franchione left Alabama to go to take the Texas A&M job, which pissed me off, and I wanted him to fail. So I paid attention to. Plus, they've had great players over the years. I mean, I do play. I mean, like Michigan, for instance, I followed them when Tyrone Wheatley was there and Desmond Howard. I do follow all college programs, but yeah, fuck Dennis Franchione, by the way. That shit blew up in your face, you fucking loser. But anyway, left Alabama high and dry. But yeah, so when Johnny Manziel was there, and there was just all this excitement, and that crowd was just insane. I mean, insane. So I think that if LSU is a top 10 team, then Death Valley at night, I think is tougher to play than Kyle Field. But I'm saying right now, the way the swamp is, Florida's not intimidating. LSU's not intimidating. Right now, Texas A&M proved when Alabama walks in there and you beat Alabama and you take punches from Alabama and you stand tall, I think that's how they earned it. Now, obviously, Penn State's awesome for sure.
That's the toughest thing when you're answering that question, because a lot of that is going to depend on how good the team is at the same time.
That's true. That's true.
That's always going to be a factor. And is A&M always going to be? Yes, it's literally always going to be rocking, but it's not. If you can take the crowd out of it, it's not a factor.
The thing is so who's the most dominant team in college football? No doubt, it's Alabama,
and they never say Tuscaloosa. Yeah,
right. I mean, obviously Tuscaloosa is insane to play. It's tough to go into Tuscaloosa and play Alabama. Period. But there's something different about Death Valley when LSU is on point. There's something different about the swamp, and there's something different about College Station. I don't know what it is.
I think the reason. All right. Try to like break down the argument. I think the reason that we say that a place is tough to go is because we feel like it gives them an advantage and lets them overplay their talent and brings another team down. So inherently, you're probably not going to say it about Alabama because they're like the best team in the country every fucking time. So like the crowd it's like the status quo, I guess. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about those arguments, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I knew when I saw Texas A&M on the schedule, I knew that was going to be a tough game because it was at College Station. If it was going to be in Tuscaloosa, I mean, I was like, it's still a tough game because they have a ton of talent. But when I saw that was in College Station, I was worried about that game, even with them being unranked. You know what I mean? Like there's something about that environment that is an intimidating environment to go into. Plus, when it's Alabama going into there. And maybe that's one thing too, is whenever I pay attention to it, I'm paying attention to the lens of an Alabama fan. So anytime Alabama walks into a stadium, that stadium is fucking rocking because they want my team to take down Alabama. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different variables for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, kind of looking ahead to next week, I don't think there's many great matchups in college football next week.
I want to look.
Yeah, let me go. I'm going to go pull it up. I always, like, every time for these, I pull up the schedule and I pull up the, basically what we're looking at for top 25, because I think that's usually where you're going to see these more marquee matchups. And looking ahead to week 8 in college football, I'll run through all the top 25 matchups. I'll share my screen so you can see it here. Hopefully it doesn't click away. All right. Coastal Carolina still cruising at 6-0. Tulane and SMU.
The Green Wave.
Wisconsin at my Purdue Boilermakers. That's the game of the week, honestly. Cincinnati plays Navy. Oklahoma plays a shitty Kansas. Northwestern plays Michigan. Maybe this could be a trap game for Michigan. Michigan struggled against nearly every fucking team, I feel like, this year. Illinois at Penn State, not interesting. Wake Forest at Army, shouldn't be interesting. Oklahoma at Iowa State. Oklahoma State at Iowa State. Could have been interesting before Iowa State lost 2 games. But, I mean, this is a big game for Oklahoma State. I guess that might be the biggest one for them to go into Iowa State like that. Because if they lose, and Oklahoma just kind of has the Big 12 going away. Oregon, UCLA, that's going to be a big game, but I don't know what UCLA can do. And Oregon hasn't looked impressive most of the time. So that could be a tough game for them going on the road.
Chip Kelly.
Oregon returns to play Chip Kelly. LSU and Ole Miss. I'm not interested in that.
That'll be an interesting game, though, just because Ole Miss is the top 12 and LSU I think LSU's going to be playing their ass off, actually, for Coach O.
Why?
I think they like him. Because they like him. They love that guy. He is a player's coach.
Well,
he is definitely a player's coach.
What? The time's up. Time's up. Me too.
It doesn't matter. Like, I think they'll go in there wanting to play for him because he's still there until the end of the year.
Yeah. Maybe to send a message like, we don't like the fact that you're letting go of him.
100%.
Yeah. Well, they should have done that the rest of the fucking season if they wanted to keep him. Clemson playing a 23rd ranked Pittsburgh team. I did not expect these rankings to occur like this at the start of the season, but don't give a fuck. You'll be interested in Tennessee, Alabama, but I don't think that's going to be a good game.
It might be. It's a rivalry game. It's always it's always interesting. The 3rd Saturday in October. So we'll see.
San Diego State. I do like San Diego State. I went to a couple games there when I was living in San Diego. They are undefeated in the Mountain West. They're playing Air Force. Who gives a fuck? USTA. I'll be honest. That's Conference USA.
I don't
University. I don't even know. The USTA Roadrunners. You can't even tell me.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
I'm going to have to look this up. Somebody's got to know, though. Hold on. They're ranked higher than Purdue. At USTA football.
Texas San Antonio. Somebody in the chat said it.
Oh, University of Texas San Antonio.
I didn't even know who that was.
They could just be making that up, honestly.
Enough people said it.
2 people knew it, so there you go. Jesus Christ. Well, I'm not interested in that game anymore either. Where am I? Where the fuck is all this shit? I lost my tabs. Either way, like I said, it's not a big college football week. There's not a lot of marquee matchups. You got a couple interesting games, but none with, kind of the bigger stuff that we usually talk about when you're talking about national championship implications or winning and losing conference, questions like that. But what?
We got Washington State football coach is out after refusing to get the jab.
Oh,
That's
send me that article.
news.
Let's do it
Breaking
live,
news.
Jeremy.
It's
we'll clip
it's
it.
on. It's I just got the ESPN alert so on my phone.
Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum.
Let's see here. ESPN. Just look for ESPN Twitter.
I got it.
Okay.
Man. All right, so here on Monday Evening Quarterback, we got a little bit of breaking news. If my screen would actually share. There we go. Nick Rolovich out as Washington State football coach after refusing state-mandated COVID-19 jab, source says. Now, I've heard rumblings about this story for quite a while. He kind of made news because he said he had no intention of getting it. And as we're live, we have this breaking from ESPN. Nick Rolovich is out as the Washington State football coach after refusing to get vaccinated, a requirement for all state employees, a source confirmed. Wow. Monday was the deadline for state employees to become fully jabbed or receive an approved medical or religious exemption as part of the state mandate. Rolovich was seeking a religious exemption, but it's not yet clear how the university committee assigned to evaluate the exemptions ruled. Seems pretty clear to me if he's fucking out. Defensive coordinator Jake Dickert is expected to be named the team's interim head coach. He was hired in January of 2020 after a 4-year stint at Hawaii. I know why that name's familiar now because I remember the Hawaii head coach, where he compiled a 28-27 record. His departure was first reported by the Oregonian. I don't care. Jeremy, what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I mean, I stand with Coach Rolovich. I think this is YouTube. We have to kind of be careful with this topic and the things we say. And so I'll qualify. Shockingly enough, a guy sitting in a pool house surrounded by video games and superhero posters is not a doctor. So I'm simply giving my opinion. And I stand with him because it's an individual choice. It's an individual choice, and I support your individual choice to do whatever you think is best for you and your family in these situations. And so the fact that this is mandated and this man can't continue a job that he was hired for, and I've heard people talk about, like I've heard stupid ass Stephen A. Smith talking about this whole thing with Kyrie. He's like, you signed a contract and you got to honor that contract. And nowhere in these fucking contracts did they sign anything saying that they had to take this. Because it wasn't a thing at that point in time. So bringing up a contract is irrelevant because it was never part of these contracts. So now you're changing the rules on people. Well, what good's a contract? Like, how does that work? If you sign a contract and then your employer is forcing you to do something, again, I'm not an attorney, so I can answer these questions. Maybe if Mark Barnes was here, Barnes will be back next week. Maybe we can ask her. Maybe we ask Nick Ricator or something like that. But
I know that Barnes, if you go follow Viva Barnes Law over on Locals, they actually talk a lot over there about situations where people can file grievances and things like that for being fired over not getting the jab. So yeah, I'm sure he has a lot to say.
And so it's just ridiculous. And so I completely stand with this guy. We need more we need more people that are willing to stand up for your individual choices. Again, I support you if you want to get the jab. I support you if you don't want to get it, because it's not my business. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. That's a you decision, and only for you. No one else should have any type of power over that decision. This is ridiculous. So that's my stance on it.
Yeah, I pretty much echo those thoughts. We had Allison Williams from ESPN. She left her job at ESPN because she did not want to get it. And it takes people like this to stand up and normalize that, you know what, you can take a stand. There's going to be a lot of people that support him out there. And it's a hard thing to do, to give up. This may have been his dream job, right? This may have been what he's been working for his entire life. He only got there in 2020. And now, because of something like this coming down, for a ridiculous reason, he's been forced out and fired as the Washington State football head coach absolutely disgusting, but that's where we're at right now in the sports landscape, the political landscape, and in the world because of the nonsense. So breaking news on Sports Wars. You never know.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So
you never know what's going to happen. All right, let's catch up with some of these super chats, guys. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you coming for these Monday night shows. Bloop Noop for $10. They called me a madman when I drafted Brady as your fantasy quarterback. Well, it would depend where you draft Brady as your fantasy quarterback, whether I'll call you a madman or not. If you draft him in the top 5 of quarterbacks taken, I'll say, good call. If you take him with the 2nd overall pick, I may criticize you.
Just for the record, I'm number 1 in fantasy, by the way. Ryan's Ryan's
for the
basically
record, it's not going to last.
Ryan is basically in real life. He's Purdue also, like I'm Alabama. He's Purdue in the college football landscape. That's what I am in the fantasy landscape.
Jeremy, you're Cincinnati, bitch. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I am number 1. I got a tough game.
Alabama. I'm Alabama. I'm number 4 right now, bitch. I am Alabama.
That's fine.
I have the players. I have the longevity. I have the volume. I will win out in the end. So you keep talking.
You just all you can hope for is McCaffrey comes back. If you get McCaffrey, you may have a chance. If McCaffrey comes back.
Well, I'm not going to lie. It is tough. The fact that Christian McCaffrey just went on IR makes it tough for me because he's not going to be back for several weeks. And my other running back, I had 3 solid running backs. Chris Carson is out with a fucking neck injury. Motherfucker might be paralyzed for all I know. It dropped his ass. Fuck him. But yeah, so it's going to be tough. But I got the only Aaron I care about for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Jones. That's who I want scoring touchdowns.
Well, I got a tough game this week. I got Benny. Benny's killing it. He actually might end up overtaking me as number 1 because of points, depending on how things go tonight. I am
going to fucking drop Myles Gaskin's bitch ass. I blame fucking Tua, honestly, for Myles Gaskin having such a bad game. Fucking piece of shit, Tua. Master Ian for $5. I am from Texas. # we beat Alabama.
Well, Texas A&M? I'm assuming that's what you mean.
Texas.
Yeah, because Nick Saban basically destroyed Texas's entire program back in 2009. Ran Mac Jones out of town, a legend. Colt McCoy couldn't even last the first half against Alabama. And the Longhorns haven't been the same since. So, but I guess you're talking about A&M.
Yeah, probably. Bloop Noop for $5. Thank you, Bloop Noop. Doesn't say anything that time. My Nerdy Home with 2 super chats says Jeremy Grimes and Ryan Kimmel. I actually have it right here. Right there. Ryan Kimmel. There it is. Thank you, Steph. Shabbleflab. We got some weird names coming out tonight. That's ones I haven't seen before. I always like that. I appreciate it, guys. Shabbleflab for $5. Doesn't say anything. Thank you. That's $5 to deal with my comments, he says after. Okay. There you go. You want some Peyton respect. Ooh. I don't know. Might be more. I might cost more than $5 for some Peyton Manning respect.
Oh, Shabbleflab said, you guys are awesome, but the Brady ball leaking has to stop. It's not what you think. It takes a complete team, and Brady always has one. The end. But again, that's
look at their team this year. Their fucking defense is porous. Their pass defense is fucking terrible.
Well, again, literally Tampa Bay is New England now. And New England is Tampa Bay. Like they've literally just become, they are the new standard in the NFL because of one man. Like New England, the most dominant team in the history of, professional football, as long as Tom Brady was the quarterback. And then Tom Brady leaves and they're nothing. And now Tampa Bay. And everybody's like, oh, it's a stacked team. Nobody was clamoring to go to Tampa Bay. No quarterbacks were like, that's the destination I got to get to. I got to get to Tampa Bay, and we're going to be nobody was wanting to go to Tampa Bay. Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, and he's changed the culture. He's changed everything because that's how great he is. He is the greatest athlete in the history of sports. He just is. Nobody's close.
I mean, nobody wanted to go to Tampa to play with Crab Legs Winston. Like that wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But that has to be part of it, and yeah, he did get some players that wanted to come, that wanted to play with him. Absolutely. Same thing about Peyton Manning when he went to Denver, both on offense and defense. They got a lot of players, a lot of talented players that came there specifically for that reason. But yeah, he has had good players. He's also had times where he's had to kind of do things. And Gronk is always hurt. How many Super Bowls did he play without Gronk? So.
Well, see, but this is like, I see Tom King, who's a constant Brady hater and always saying Aaron Rodgers is the greatest player ever. He says, Brady joined a stacked team that was only missing a quarterback. No one was saying that. Nobody was saying that in Tampa. Nobody. And then he says, then they added a starting caliber running back, one of the best wide receivers of the generation, and a Hall of Fame caliber tight end. Why didn't other teams sign those players if they were out there? Because nobody could deal with Antonio Brown except for Tom Brady, because that's what a true alpha is and a true leader. Tom Brady is the guy that has enough respect to lead. Aaron Rodgers can't lead Antonio Brown, can he? No, couldn't do it. There's no possible way Aaron Rodgers has leadership to manage Antonio Brown. Rob Gronkowski came out of retirement just so he could play with Tom Brady. This is what true greatness is, when you motivate people to change their ways. Antonio Brown, a reckless individual who's an all-time great player, but no one else could manage him. That's what great leadership does. And Rob Gronkowski comes out of retirement. And then Fournette says, I'm finally going somewhere where I respect the quarterback. That's what greatness does for you. It allows you to be a great leader. Why doesn't Aaron Rodgers lead people like that? Because he's not a great leader. If it's so easy, why doesn't everybody do it?
Yeah, and Rodgers is kind of like, well, literally he held out because he says, I don't have enough help. That's literally why he held out. Now, I will say Green Bay is a little bit different, the way that their ownership is fans and their organization runs. It is a little different scenario, but still at the same time, if you had that poll, I think you'd get the players there.
Well, yeah, just like the argument's always been that New England's bad. That New England has a great team. They didn't have a great team when Drew Bledsoe was there. So why did it just instantly become a great team the moment Bledsoe got injured and Tom Brady took over? Did Belichick just become a great coach the moment Bledsoe went down and Brady took over? And did Belichick just suddenly stop being a great coach the moment Brady left? Or maybe it's because of Tom Brady. Did Bruce Arians become a Super Bowl legend the moment Tom Brady got there? Or did Tom Brady change the environment there? Did Tampa Bay just suddenly become a Super Bowl caliber team because Tom Brady walked in the door? Did it just happen, or did Tom Brady change things? Like, at some point, the Brady haters just have to accept you're wrong. You're just wrong, and you're going to continue to come up with excuses. And I love watching you cry and just try to make up all these reasons as to why. The reason is number 12. That's it. And not Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe when he's 50.
Yeah. Like the year Brady finally has a bad year, people are like, fine, I told you. 48 years old. Look at Brady. He was always a system quarterback. Rob Parker.
No way. No how.
Are you guys fans of Rob Parker, by the way? The people that are always like, Brady, because Rob Parker's your guy.
Yeah, I think that by the move to Tampa, he showed that he doesn't need that system. And yeah, of course, the players that you have on your team are always going to be fucking important for every single person ever. However, Brady just continues to stay consistent and fucking get it done, no matter what his age is. And dude's a fucking machine. He's a fucking legend. So respect to Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time.
Athlete.
Greatest athlete.
Though? Team athlete.
It's tough. Well, he's the most accomplished team athlete of all time. Like I can't put him in front of Jordan, man. I just can't. I can't do it.
Why?
I can't.
Dude, he's done it for 20 years in 2 organizations.
I can't do it.
The longevity is it's insane.
Oh, it's insane. It's absolutely nuts.
Like, this would be the equivalent if Jordan would have went to the Wizards and won a championship. What he's doing in Tampa Bay right now. That's what this would be. So if Jordan does that, and then I think that, you've got an argument. But I mean, what Brady's done in Tampa Bay is just truly like Jordan.
The thing is, like, Jordan Jordan literally didn't play basketball for like a fucking year and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he came back.
They did lose,
then,
though.
Then,
they did lose. They
yeah,
lost
they
to the
lose.
Magic. Yeah.
Yeah, when he walked off the fucking street out of shape and started playing, they lost.
Yeah.
And then he didn't play for another like year and a half as an owner, and just like, I guess I'll fuck around. So it's also a different era where people just didn't take care of their bodies. So like the longevity couldn't have been a thing. But it's a tough comparison. You can't. I'm not gonna fucking sit here to argue all day with you about Tom Brady being the greatest athlete of all time, because look at his resume speaks for itself. But I can't put him above.
I never thought I'd ever say anybody would touch Jordan. That's what shocks me. Like, I think I said it after the Falcons is when I finally put Brady over Jordan. I was like, God, this is insane.
Somebody in the chat said it. Yeah, as soon as Tom Brady beats the Monstars, let me know. William Yordi for 5. Breaking: Washington State University football officially fired for not being vaxxed. We actually just talked about it, and that's where we're going to end it, because I'm going to end the stream, download this stream, and then I'm going to put that video out so we can get ahead of that story. But thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully Robert Barnes will be able to join us next week, same time right here at Monday Evening Quarterback. Let me check Streamlabs, make sure nothing came in.
We'll be live tonight, myself and Krista, playing Mario Kart for our premium members on geeksandgamers.com. The link has been sent out. Also, if you go to geeksandgamers.com and you're a premium member, you go to that premium feed and you can get the link right there on the website if you're signed in on the website. So looking forward to seeing all of you a little bit later.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for now. We will talk to you later. Peace.